Jack was definitely wild, humorous, and caring. Yeah, he was caring.
Full of life. Yes. Crazy, loud, funny.
And so selfless and funny, just so funny.
Fun, outgoing, and just wild.
Funny, outgoing, just a good friend.
Reckless, witty, and then courageous.
3 words I would describe Jack are wild, loving, and definitely dependable.
Wild, crazy, and fearless.
Loving, caring, thoughtful.
Just always a good time, fearless like everybody else is, crazy, but always loving, had a full heart.
Nicest, caring person that you can meet.
Loud, fun, caring.
A good friend, fearless, and always down to have a good time, I guess.
I would say that he was wild. He was careless and he was happy. Courageous, outgoing, and most importantly, loving.
He was like my only brother. It's outgoing, crazy, and fun.
Adventurous, loud, and a sweetheart.
Caring, sweet, kind, and wild.
Loving, crazy, and full of life.
He's definitely the most outgoing person I've ever met. He was crazy and really loud.
He was definitely loyal, patriotic, crazy.
The most caring, loving, wild individual, full of spontaneous things.
Wild, outgoing, and caring.
Wild, reckless, crazy, barefoot, mustard.
Crazy, the life of the party, and barefoot.
Just always was about having a good time and just making sure everybody else was happy.
Caring, compassionate, one of a kind.
Fearless, sweet, and outgoing.
Family, spontaneous, and wild.
Spontaneous, loving, hilarious, caring.
Caring, crazy, optimistic. He was always looking at the bright side of things, like kind-hearted, and just funny.
Funny, crazy, ambitious, optimist, and honestly, there's not any word for it. He just loved to have a good time, and I loved being with him all the time.
A great friend, wild, crazy, and hilarious.
He lived life wide open, just always sent. He just couldn't tell him anything. You know, he just couldn't stop him from doing anything.
Jack, can I tell you something? You are funny at time. And probably you probably a joke all the time. Pranking Logan and Mia.
Definitely warm-hearted, compassionate, wild, but definitely a pain in the ass. But if you were ever in trouble, he could definitely be the one you could call to talk to about anything.
Loving.
Think of him and you just instantly get a smile on your face. I think that he was fearless in anything that he did. He didn't think twice about it, which could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but I think that he was just completely fearless, and he definitely lived his life to the fullest every chance that he got, and I think that that's something he would never regret, and I think that's how everyone will remember him and how he would want to be remembered.
My Ruger Red Label double barrel that I bought from Dustin's grandfather and gave it to Jack 5 years ago. It was a Christmas gift. Caroline, Ann, and I would like Paul to have it from Jack.
And Jack was stacking straw. And if you knew Jack, Jack always had to be to the top of the stack so he can see everything that was going on all the time. Me being a tractor, I was stressing out, trying to get straw up before the rain, and the boys are working, sweating. Everybody's thirsty. Nobody has any time for room for jokes and plays. But I made another load, and I was pulling up to the stack to dump it. And you can just tell all the workers are pissed off and ready to go home. And as I'm dumping the load, I looked at the top of the stack, and Jack had his ass out mooning me. But after being pissed off all day, Jack, he knew how to put smiles on people's faces. That's what he was good at. He was good at making people's days way better.
Probably one of my favorite memories would be when it was during straw season, summertime, and I left my truck at the field. I think I had to go somewhere with Mitch, and he called me when I was going back to my truck, and he said he had a surprise waiting on me. And so got in my truck, there was a whole straw bale, cut strings, everything, just straw thrown all around through my truck, which anybody who knows how much straw is in a straw bale, it'll fill your whole truck up somehow, some way. And I never could get all the straw out of that truck. I think there's even some in there still to this day, pretty much. So it's just one of those things he would do, just keep him in your mind.
I just always remember him as always wanting to have fun, no matter what you did. Like you could take a random boring day and he could come up with something to do and it would just make it into a memory.
There was one time he decided to take out all my clothes and put them on my roof when it started pouring, and he thought it was the funniest thing ever.
I was 14 years old, and he texted me and told me to come here. So I met him here, and he said he was taking me to lunch, and he took me on the boat and took me to Rowan Point, and he packed us a picnic, and we had a picnic on Rowan Point.
Favorite memory would be one night we were all shooting off bottle rockets. We thought it'd be a good idea for Jack to shoot one out of his ass, and then he ended up with burn marks all over his ass cheeks.
I honestly don't have a favorite memory. Just, we spent all the time together. Just every moment was special.
Jack had a fly fishing rod that he just got, and he had a great idea trying to run me and Paul around the house, whipping us with it as many times as he could, and finally we got a hold of it from him, started whipping him around, and of course that's right when Miss Ann walks out and starts getting on me and Paul. Jack's always getting us in trouble after he gets, whipping on us.
Everyone knows this one, but I was at Big Barrel, and we were all having a good day, and all of a sudden I see a fight. And so we run over to see what the fight is, and Jack's in the fight. And long story short, Jack's ended up getting beat up, my boyfriend's beat up, everyone's wondering what's going on. And I'm like, Jack, why were you fighting? What was going on? He's like, they claimed I stole their pork chops. I'm like, stole their pork chops? And he's like, well, I was hungry, so I just was walking by the grill and I took the pork chop off the grill. And I was like, well, then you stole their pork chops. And he's like, no, I would never steal a pork chop. So I just always found that really funny.
So one night we were all together, and it was a crazy night, and my friend was upset, and Jack went out of his way to be there for her, and he had a really big sub in his hand. And he ran up to me and he was like, "Courtney, hold my sub. I gotta be there for Shelby."
It was the first night I got my license. I met Jack at Charles Wright's house. We went, reeded up duck blinds all day, cut reeds, and then got in my truck and he wanted to ride in it. Just wanted to ride around for a little bit to see how it was. I looked at my odometer next morning and we'd rode 178 miles in one night. And I wouldn't trade the conversations we had for anything.
The first thing I think of is when we were all at Big Barrel, and everyone knows I'm always yelling at Ronnie for something, especially with his truck and driving crazy or flooring it to blow smoke everywhere. But we had his truck parked right up at the campsite, and Jack just had to stick his face straight down in the tailpipe so Ronnie could lay on it and blow diesel smoke all over his face. And not once, but like 2 or 3 times. And I'm yelling at Ronnie, "Stop doing it, stop doing it." And Jack's like, "No, just let him do it, this is awesome." And for the rest of the day, he just had to walk around the Big Barrel with like this smudged up face of black smoke all over it, and it looked like eyeliner by the end of the day. But that's the first thing I think of, is him having a huge grin on with black smoke all over his face.
I remember the first time I ever hung out with Jack. We went down with John Arrieta, me, Paxton, and Addie. We went down to Roaring Point, and I'd never been there before. I just moved into town, and I was like so scared. I was like, "Are we allowed to be at this beach? I've never been here before." And Jack just looked back at me and he was like, "I remember when I had my first beer," and I was cracking up. And he's just always been that like sarcastic kind of funny person that always made you feel like everything was like fine.
Earlier this year at the Trump rally, I was standing in line by myself and I heard him like talking behind me. I was thinking to myself like, Jack Morris is the last person I want to come with me to a presidential rally. And he comes up with me and so we end up staying in line together for 4 hours waiting to get inside. And right before we're about to get inside, this reporter comes up to him and asks him what he thinks of Trump. And after the interview, he tells him his name's Jack Mehoff. And that was one of the funniest moments that I've ever had, because the reporter had no idea what he said.
One night we left a party and we went to Rural Farms, and we didn't feel like waiting for the food, so we grabbed a handful of mustard packs and started eating mustard. When we got back to my house, we were covered in mustard.
This summer we took a road trip to Florida, and a lot of memories there, but they were talking about chugging beers and chugging ducks, but while we were down there, for some reason he walked out of the restaurant with a bottle of hot sauce, and he was taking shots of hot sauce all night. And I just never saw anybody doing that. He was chugging that.
I've known Jack forever. He's my little cousin. But one of my favorite memories was he took me and my girlfriend out on a full moon at like 2:30 in the morning on the Whaler. We were watching them, and my husband we spent a couple weeks watching these kids. They're my family, so I've babysat them forever, and we had the privilege of coming and hanging out here for a week and a couple weeks at the farm, watching them while Ann and Eddie were gone. And one of my favorite memories was a moonlight cruise to Roaring Point, and that's where I'm gonna miss them the most. Seeing them at Roaring Point.
Last time we went on the boat, we were tubing, having a good time, and he just wanted to dock the boat so he can go talk to these Mexicans that were on the shore. And he went over to them, didn't know who they were at all, and just started laughing. I don't even think he spoke English, but they would just, he started interacting with them, and they got a sombrero from him. He wore the sombrero. I'm pretty sure he kept it, but just like, he didn't care who you were, he just wanted people to have a good time, just like, he was a people person.
When he was probably about 6, I was probably, 20? Yeah, so I was 11 or 10, something like that, or 9. We were at Tally Ho, and there was like a family event or something, and there was a 55-gallon drum filled with ice water, cooling all the beer. And he got butt-ass naked and jumped in that thing in front of everyone. And it was just how he lived life, you know? He did whatever he wanted. Couldn't stop him.
My dad always tells this story about this big fishing tournament, and they were on this, my dad was on these big fishing boats coming in because this, it was like a really big storm. And all of a sudden, Dad is coming in on this big boat, and here comes Jack going out. Going out, and all these big boats are coming in on this little tiny boat, ying, ying, just hopping over the waves. And my dad waves him over. He's, boy, you gotta come in. He's like, nah, Mr. Lee, I'm going out. And it was just a funny moment because that's just what you think when you think of Jack. That's
Fearless,
exactly
literally.
what you think. So I'm glad I get to hang on to that, and my dad does too. So
the first time I remember meeting Jack, I was in the 5th grade, and somehow he managed to talk me into sneaking out and going to Cedar Hill that I'm pretty sure my parents still don't know about. He definitely was one of the most outgoing people, and if you were anywhere near him, you were always smiling.
My kid always had a smile on his face regardless, and then didn't matter what happened to him, he felt no pain.
He's with Logan now. I guess just seeing him every day come over and just sit there, drink a beer, and just be with the family, I guess.
He was like a brother. I mean, I never had a brother, but he always supported me and was always there whenever I needed him. And it's just like the most dependable person I've ever known.
That smile is gonna be missed a lot, and all his crazy, weird, I don't even know, funny times, memories.
I never knew I had another half until I met Jack.
I love him, he was my brother, and I'll daily miss him, and I'll miss all the great times I had with him throughout my life.
He'll never be forgotten, ever.
He's always a fun person to be around, and he'll always be missed.
You know, I love him, and that I hope he's taking care of my little cousin up there. And that we're all gonna miss him, and we're gonna miss his laugh and his smile, and he brought so much joy while he was here. And we're always gonna remember that.
We're definitely gonna miss him, and I love him, and we'll see each other again someday.
We're all gonna miss him. I mean, it's gonna be hard.
I just want to let Jack know, my family will always be here for his family, and they mean the world to us. He's my brother, and he means everything to me. So he'll be here.
I love him. I can't wait to see him again. Can't wait to take another boat ride with him.
We'll always think of him, and he'll always be around, but we'll love him always for sure. And there's not going to be a single time out at Roaring Point or on the boats that he won't be out there with us, or we'll be thinking of him.
I'm really gonna miss him, and he was a great friend to Stevie and me, and he was there for me a lot when I needed him, and that we love him a lot. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss hearing him say "chaw" to me all the time and asking to be on my Snapchat every time I'm with him. I just want to let him know that I'm gonna miss. I love him to death, and I'm just gonna miss him so much. I'm gonna miss those random text messages and wild ideas when he's bored.
Just will never forget his laugh and just how he is around other people, and he can always turn any time into a good time.
I love you, brother. You're still my best friend. You'll always be my best friend. Rest easy and look after all of us.
I love him. He's a knucklehead, but he was the best time, and probably everybody said the same thing about that.
Jack, good job. You finally got more girls than guys over your house. Playing, I love you, brother. Check one back with Logan for me.
I'm going to miss him dearly. Going to miss him stopping by the house unannounced, just walking in all hours of the day and night. And he felt like a brother that I didn't have.
But I love him, and I'll miss him. And I know he's watching over us.
I just hope he takes care of us all.
Jack, you'll be missed, and don't forget to tell my dad I said hey.
I just want to let him know I'm gonna miss him, and I'm gonna miss having him around.
I want him to know I love him, and to tell Logan I love him too. And I hope they're always watching down on us. Always be there.
I miss him. When done with him.
Jack and sky, sun, moon, and stars in your heart.
Okay, so this is to the Morris family. We love you. The support system you guys have behind you is incredible. I hope you guys take comfort in knowing that, and if you ever need some rowdy kids at your house, there is plenty of
You got 'em here.
So this is cheers to Jack.
Cheers to Jack and the Morris family.